All right, welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over how to get your MyMathLab account set up and some of the important features that you're going to need in MyMathLab. So to get started, we're going to go to mymathlab.com, mymathlab.com. And when you hit enter on that, it's going to expand it into this big long pearson.com/, thing. Don't worry about that. Just keep the one link in your history and you will be fine, mymathlab.com. If you've used already MyMathLab before, this is going to be easier for you. You can also create a new account and that's fine. If you've used it before and want to use the same login, push sign into my lab and go from there. If you forgot your username and password, you can do that. Most people will be under the last category, no account yet. We're going to register now. You want student access. So click on student access. And then it says get registered. Are you using an LMS? So this can be a tricky question, so we want to be careful with it. It's true that we're using Canvas in our course, but I don't have MyStatLab or MyMathLab linked up through Canvas. So for this purpose, you're going to want to say no, and we're going to keep going, okay? So don't push yes to our using an LMS. Scroll down. If you're not using an LMS, you'll need these three things to get started: the course ID, which I'll give you, an email address, which you have, and then access code, credit card, or PayPal. And then if you're not ready to pay for it right now, you can also get a temporary access for 14 days, which I'll show you how to do that. Okay, I'm ready to register. We're going to click on that. And then here's this find your course. So this is the part where we're going to type in our course ID off of Canvas. So it's my last name, Kleinfelter, K-L-E-I-N-F as in Frank, E-L-T-E-R, and then a 5-digit code. And it can vary, but right now we're using 82928. Okay, and then like I said, the one that you want to use actually shows on Canvas. So make sure you're using the correct code. Click on continue to register. So now here you can sign in with a username or password. Again, if you forgot, if you had one. This can be a little confusing at first. If you scroll down though, like here, it looks like you should know what you're doing, but if you have to scroll down to get actually the create an account part. So we'll click on create an account. So email address and then confirm your email address. So this you can you want to use a email address that you actually check. Because if I do send messages through MyMathLab, they're going to go through that to that email. Okay. All right, so this already is in there. So let me just make up another one. All right, so email address, confirm your email address. The default for the username is just to use the email address, but you can make something else if you want. Put in a password. It has to be 8 or more characters, at least one uppercase and one number. And then first name and then last name. Put your first, please, put your first name in the first name spot and your last name in the last name spot. It makes it easier for me to find you. Country, and then select your role. You're going to be student. And then your study level, which you are undergraduate. And then month and year of birth. I'm not sure why it uses this, but you could put that in. And then you have to agree to the terms of use and then click on create an account. All right, so then it says account created. We're going to click on continue. And then you can add a mobile phone number in there too, so that if you forget your password, you can get a text in order to reset it. I'm going to skip that just in the interest of time. Skip that. All right, so this part is we're going to make a decision. So here, if you already have an access code, if you've already purchase one either online or you bought the textbook bundle that comes with an access code, you can click on the button here where it says access code and type that in. That if you bought the book with the bundle in it, there's going to be a card in there with like a scratch off, and then there's the code inside. If you want to pay for this right now, then you can do that. And then this is going to, of course, come with its own decision to make. So here's the tricky part. You can get student access for 24 months, so 2 solid years, for $150. Okay, so that's a lot of money, but it is 2 years. Or you can spend $100 and get student access for 18 weeks, which is basically a semester. So this is the part where you have to make a decision. You could spend the $150 and have 2 years of access, or $100 and have only 18 weeks of access. Um, if you are pretty confident that you're going to finish the class successfully in one semester, I would go with the $100 option. If you were like, well, I'm not sure, I may have to end up taking this class twice, you may want to go with the other option. Totally up to you. I would be disappointed if I didn't pass the class and had to pay $100 a second time. That would be $200 total versus $150. I would not like it if I were in that position. I don't make any money regardless of which option you pick. Okay, so it's totally up to you. I just want you to be aware of your choices. $150 for 2 years or $100 for basically a semester. If you're not sure yet, anyways, maybe you don't even know if you like this class or are going to stay with it, or if you're not ready to pay or you can't make this decision about the 150 versus 100 right now. Either way, you can click on get temporary access without payment for 14 days. So this will let you in to where you can get started and get through the first 2 weeks of the course without having to pay. Many people pick that. If you do that, you have to kind of keep an eye on the time. Once you get to the end of the 2 weeks, you get locked out of the course. You don't lose any of your work, it'll still be there, but basically they kind of hold it hostage until you pay. Once you pay, you get back in and all your work is still there. Okay. If you will, every time you log in, it's going to give you, it'll nag you a little bit. Okay, you have 3 days left or whatever. And there'll be a link there through which you can pay at that time if you wish. So like I said, most people go through the temporary access. If you're just not sure yet, for whatever reason, you can do that. And then you can just resolve that temporary access sometime within the 14 days. One thing to be aware of is that I don't do makeups based on your access expiring. So like if you do the temporary access and then you don't pay for like 3 weeks and start missing assignments, you're not going to get makeups for that. Okay. So make sure to get that resolved sometime in that 2 weeks. All right, so I'm not going to do that because I don't want this phony account sitting in my roster. But when you click on that, you're going to get a screen that basically lets you into the course. So let me show you now what that's going to look like. All right, so once you've gotten kind of your account created, in the future, of course, you don't have to do that again. When you go to the MyMathLab page, you'll see this black box that says sign into MyLab. So click that, you'll be able to enter your password, username and password, and then you'll get in. Once you get in, you should see a screen that looks kind of like this. You'll see Math14 Online Fall 24 on it. Click on that to enter the course. And then you should see something that looks like this. Let me change it to the student view. All right, so you should see something that looks kind of like this. You won't see this link at the top that says View Instructor Home. I just get that. Down the left side are some important things to know. Course Home takes you to right here, what you're seeing here. Assignments will take you to the assignments, of course. Student Gradebook, that's how you can view your grades. StatCrunch is a software that we'll use to do some calculations and draw graphs and histograms and things. Data sets are some data sets that come with the textbook and you can tinker with if you want to do some calculating, especially with StatCrunch. eText is the textbook. I'll show you that. Study plan, you may not even see that. So we'll skip over that. Purchase options, you can view that. That gives you, you can click on that and take a look. That's mainly the things that you're going to need, actually, is assignments, gradebook, StatCrunch, data sets, and then the eText. Let's do the eText now before I forget about it. Okay, one thing to point out is that the navigation for the eText is similar to with Canvas, with the arrows or triangles showing a section that expands or collapses. When here it just said eText, the little greater than sign was had a point pointing to the right. When you click on that, it's going to open like downward and you're going to see the chapters underneath. Let's go into like chapter 6 just because that sounds fun. Inside of chapter 6, you'll see it goes up through section 6.6. Let's say we wanted to see section 6.1. Okay, I've clicked on section 6.1 and you'll see there's a video you can watch. You can look at the e-text. You can work on the study plan. The study plan is optional for our course. If you want to get extra practice, do that. If you don't want to, just ignore it. Okay, click on e-text. This usually takes a minute to open the textbook. And unfortunately, you do need to have internet access in order to open the textbook. As far as I know, you can't view it offline. All right, so this is what the textbook looks like. Like I said, if you want a paper copy of the textbook, you can do that. If you don't, if you just want to use an electronic copy, that's totally fine. It doesn't make any difference to me, and I'll never know, frankly. All right, down at the bottom, you can type in page numbers if you want, less than and greater than to advance or go back by a page. Scroll just as you would expect. Some icons on the left side. This one that looks kind of like a hamburger stack, that's the table of contents. Let's say maybe I don't want to do chapter 6 after all. Maybe we should begin in chapter 1, not get ahead of myself. All right, so that's taking up a lot of screen. I can use the X here just to close the table of contents. Now that's better. Let me start in chapter 1, start doing some reading. The magnifying glass, of course, to search. Notebook, if you want to type some notes as you're doing some reading. Flashcards, if you want to do that. You can change the display settings. As with Canvas, you won't break anything by clicking on it, so feel free to click around and try stuff. All right, so there is that. It's important to note that you can keep the textbook open at the same time as you have MyMathLab open. So if you want to switch back and forth, then you can switch between the MyMathLab proper and the actual textbook. All right, so that has been the text available through eText. Like I said, unfortunately, you need to be online in order to use it as far as I'm aware, but you can take a look at that. What else? That's good. Video and resource library. That's just what you think. There's some more learning tools and videos you can look at in there. Communication tools, that accessible resources. All right, so there's PowerPoints, video transcripts, an accessible version of the e-text if you need that. That's all in there. Again, feel free to explore, look around, see what it is that's available to you. Most people will use the textbook. Okay, let's take a look at assignments next. Actually, let me go back to the course home. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. All right, on the course home, it looks like this. Let me change back to student view. All right, you're going to see a calendar here. You should. And right here, you can see there's two blue circles. There's one for the 29th and one for the 5th. If you hover over that, it gives you a little hint that it is for homework. And then the same for the next one. Scrolling downward further, you'll see current assignments. There's the homework for 1-1 through 1-3, and also an orientation due on the Thursday, the 29th. There's 35 questions for chapter 1 through 1-1 through 1-3, and only 6 questions on the orientation. The orientation is due on the 29th, the homework on September 5th. So one thing important to note here is that what it shows on the calendar is the day things are due. You're not expected to start things on those days. You're expected to finish them on that day. So I wouldn't look at the calendar and go, okay, I don't have anything to do until Thursday. You have stuff to do right now, and it's due on Thursday, okay? So August 29th, we have this orientation, which is pretty easy. That orientation assignment is just to give you some clue about how to type in answers, okay? The 1-1 through 1-3, that will be a little bit more substantial. All right, so there's our assignments. In order to enter the assignments, you can either click on them here in the calendar, or on the left side, if you click on assignments. That's usually where I would work anyways. It's just easier for me. There they are listed with the due dates. Once there's a whole bunch in here, if you want to filter this by assignment type, homework versus quizzes and tests, organized by chapter, you can do that if you like. Right now, we've only got 2 things, so it's pretty easy. Let me try one thing in the orientation. Okay, clicking on that, you can see there are only 6 questions. My grade on it, 0, of course. Let me click on start for that. All right, so the layout here, you'll see the question text kind of on the right and question numbers on the left. There are only 6 questions. You can navigate through questions by clicking on them. Let me see what question 3 is instead. And I could go back and forth by question by clicking on the less than or greater than here on the right. All right, I think I can do this one now. Which of the following mathematical statements are true? Select all that apply. 1 plus 1 equals 2. 1 plus 2 doesn't equal 2. 1 times 2 equals 2. 2 minus 2 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. All right, so now I'm going to go down here and click on check answer. Of course, this isn't really statistics, right? Like I said, this first assignment is just getting you used to the system and how to enter answers and stuff. All right, so that looks good, and I got it right, so I got a little green check mark. Let me do question 4. I'm going to do this wrong, I think, just so we can see how that looks. All right, so here it says click the drop-down list to view the choices, then click on the correct answer to select it. To change your answer, click the answer box to reopen the choices. To get credit for this question, your answer must be correct. I want to show you how one looks if it's wrong. Final check. You'll notice that here it doesn't say check answer, it says final check. Some questions you'll get more than one try. Some questions like this one you get only one try. If you think about it, it should make sense why you only get one try here. All right, that one's wrong. I could try a similar question, or I could say forget it, go on to the next question. I think I'll do that. For the questions that are right, you get a green check mark. For the ones that are wrong, you get a red X. I don't feel like doing this anymore, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to push save up here in the upper right, and then close that. All right, so this will take me back to this screen. I can see, okay, out of the 6 questions, I worked on 2. So from far, my score is 16.67%. I get unlimited attempts per question on this particular one, so that's nice. I'm all done for right now. I could push resume if I want, I could push review, or I could just click away from this page. An important thing to know is that you don't have to do anything to turn in your assignment. Once you're done, just push save like I did, and then you can log out. There's no button you'll see on here to submit it or turn it into the instructor. There's nothing like that. So when you come back, you can continue where you left off up until the due date. You can start and stop assignments and work on them up until they're due. Okay, I think that's all for now. There's no quiz up here now. Once we have a quiz, I'll show you how that works. This has been basically a video showing you how to get your MyMathLab account set up and a little bit about how MyMathLab works. What your next step will be is to get onto the computer and set up your account, and then see if you can get this orientation done, and then we'll have student. There we go. The orientation, and then you'll want to work on chapter 1. This first week, we're starting off a little slower to get everybody their chance to get their accounts going, and then this speed will pick up. So try to get that account created soon. Let me know if you have any questions, and then have a great day.